Third down and 20.
Our final segment.
All right. So last week we looked at trends for breakout receivers, and we decided, hey, let's do the same thing for the quarterback position. Now, I will forewarn you that the quarterback position has much less concrete, okay, here's a trend that we can follow, because for just about every single trend, there are a couple of examples that completely bust it. Now, the first one, and this is kind of all hyping up a single player from this year, and that's rookies that have massive one-year success usually continue to have success. And what I mean by massive one-year success, I don't mean a 6-game stretch or a 9-game stretch. I mean over the course of the entire season. So we look at some of the recent examples. Dak Prescott scored a total of 286.88 points his rookie year. Kyler Murray, 285.28. Russell Wilson, 273.82. And Cam Newton, 370.34. Holy crap. And then you got your boy Justin Herbert here, who scored 332.84 points. The only one you can really kind of argue didn't super pan out was Cam Newton, but even if you drafted Cam Newton, you got like 4 to 5 great years of production, including a year where he led the league in fantasy points, so I don't even think you can qualify that as a bust of a pick by any stretch of the imagination. So, to me, I kind of came into the offseason thinking, oh, Justin Herbert, he's a little bit overpriced. I understand he's really good, but I'm not ready to put, him over Dak Prescott, for example. I kind of think I might have rethought that whole thought process. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Maybe I'll throw it to JT here because he's the Justin Herbert owner. Maybe Herbert's worth the hype. Maybe he's worth the price tag.
Yeah, so actually, I've been a believer in Herbert. Well, I've been up and down with Herbert, right? So to give you like a very quick story of what happened, I drafted him at 112 in our league. Jake will be quick to let you guys know it's not because I won the league, it's because I traded for the 12th pick. I drafted him there. I had on my little draft day notes like the movie, like Justin Herbert no matter what, because I knew he was going to follow that spot and I knew I'd grab him. Really liked him. Was surprised at how well he played against Kansas City, right? Then I got scared of him, and I just got scared that he just kept throwing it to Keenan Allen, and I'm like, defenses are going to find him out. Defenses are going to latch on to what they're doing. So I traded him away. Then after a couple weeks, I was like, I made a big mistake. So then I traded for him back, which I probably don't recommend.
I have no idea how you got him back.
Yeah, I was lucky in the price that I got him back, but I would not recommend doing that. Trading a guy away and then just trading him back for him, which I've done too for a few guys. Probably not the greatest draft strategy or trading strategy, but yeah. But then Frank mentioned Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott is one of the other quarterbacks that I owned. And I had decided for a while, probably by like week 10 or week 11, that I think Justin Herbert is just going to be a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, which is why I went and traded away Dak Prescott instead of Justin Herbert, and I'm rolling with him and Mahomes as my quarterbacks. It's just that he's just got, I don't know if you guys saw, there's a video going around Twitter. He's standing flat-footed on the end zone, and he just throws the ball and it goes like 60 yards. It's just incredible. He's just got a rocket arm. He's willing to fire it. The fearless and the confidence that he has, like, it's hard to teach that. You see guys like Tua that are kind of struggling with that right now, and they've got to learn, and that does come with experience at times. But when you've got quarterbacks like that are willing to just go and put on a rope in between zones and tight coverage, and they're hitting those guys in the back of the end zone like he did with Keenan Allen so many times, it's hard to find those kind of quarterbacks. And when you've got them, like, you got to go and either buy them or hold on to them. So I was looking at Justin Herbert on Keep Trade Cut right now, and he is the quarterback 5, right? So rather than talk about quarterbacks, let's pretend that we don't have any needs. We're just trading for pure value, right? Would you guys rather have, and this is a good one, there are a couple players that you guys do own actually, would we rather have Christian McCaffrey, CMC, or Justin Herbert?
Herbert.
If it's a startup draft and I'm picking in the first round, I got my choice between the two. Herbert.
All right, I was talking about just like right now, but yeah, I guess the startup does make everything kind of equal and fair. That is something interesting to see right now because right, if we go to keep trade cut, currently Christian McCaffrey is ranked above Justin Herbert, by a decent margin, kind of too. But I would like to see startup drafts, and if it's the same for startup drafts, I kind of imagine it would be, to be honest. I think Christian McCaffrey would be going above Justin Herbert. All right, that kind of, I'm assuming everyone would rather have Herbert than Saquon then?
Yeah. I don't think there's a single running back I'm taking over Herbert.
All right, so then I guess all we got to focus on then is the other quarterbacks, right? The only other quarterbacks that are currently ranked ahead of him are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, and Kyler Murray. Are you trading any of those guys for Justin Herbert straight up in a one-for-one deal?
No.
No.
I might think
I
about
think
it with
5
Murray.
is-
Who'd you say, Frank?
Just looking at some of the things that I'll bring up in these future points, I might think about it for Kyler Murray, but probably not.
All right, so he does seem like he'd be a tough guy to get. Then you get into the question of, like, would you give up?
JT's just hyping up his own quarterback right now.
I'm really not. Because I'm trying to talk about, like he is someone that, like, I feel like you should acquire, right? He's someone, I don't want to hype up my own guys, right? But I feel like if you can package a decent amount of players to get a player like Herbert,
Just give up the farm.
I feel like you might not even have to give up the farm, right? But like, oops, sorry, move my mic around there. Like, would you guys do AJ Brown in a first for Justin Herbert, or are you
Yes.
keeping Frank's saying yes? Jake, are you trading AJ Brown and a first for Justin Herbert?
I mean, I'm assuming at that point, like, what first? I'm not trading AJ Brown.
I was going to
Let's say
say,
middle
of-
round.
where's the first?
Like 108.
Random
Yes.
ass
Oh,
2022 first. How about
Easy.
that?
Oh,
Random
2022
ass
first.
2022 first. I mean, is it
Oh,
like
2022 first, that's insane value for Herbert. Even this year, like,
How about two
I
firsts?
would've-
222
I would've done a
firsts and AJ Brown.
Whoa,
I would
I'm
have done
getting
any
crazy there.
21.
simmer
I would have
down.
done
AJ
any
Brown is
2021
like
first. What were you gonna say, Jake?
AJ Brown's like wide receiver 1 right now. I don't know if giving up him and 2 first for any player.
I think I would.
So-
Any player not named Patrick Mahomes is.
Dude, I'm
is,
sold on Herbert now. He literally during this trend check thing, the two quarterbacks that hit it out of the park. Russell Wilson, who I've already loved and I target him in every league, and Justin Herbert. Those are the two guys. The only thing Justin Herbert didn't hit on, which is point number 2, he didn't have a great third and fourth season simply because he just hasn't gotten there yet. That's the only thing.
Yeah. All right, real quick, Frank, before you move on. So we're talking about Frank's out here debating if he could give up 2 first plus AJ Brown for Justin Herbert. If you go on keep trade cut, right? And again, I've warned people about using dynasty calculators and whatnot, but just AJ Brown and the 2021 mid first is telling you that you like that's worth way more than Justin Herbert. Like the Justin Herbert side, according to here, would also have to include a Deebo Samuel. So an AJ Brown plus a 2021 mid first equals Justin Herbert and Deebo Samuel. And to me, I feel like then you're getting Justin Herbert at a pretty solid price, if you ask me. So it's definitely something that you should look out for. As a Justin Herbert owner, I'm probably not trading him. I'm just going to ride him off in a sub and set. But if you could go out and you really want that franchise quarterback, I feel like there are definitely worse places you could go than trading up for Justin Herbert. So, yeah, Frank, what were your next couple points?
Okay, I'm going to skip a couple of points here because this will just really cement in why I think that even A.J. Brown in 222 first, I think is still worth it for Justin Herbert because of this fact. 7 out of the 20 quarterbacks that finished top 20 in 2010 finished top 20 in 2020. That is ridiculous. Just think about that really quickly. 10 years ago, 7 of the quarterbacks that were top 20 also finished top 20 this year. Is that not completely absurd? Like, does that happen for any other position unless you have, like, Jerry Rice?
Yeah.
Julio Jones.
Even
then.
Yeah. Like, Antonio Brown had a long stretch of, he was like wide receiver 1, but I feel like that was only like 5 years, 6 years maybe. Just having
Julio's like 7, 8.
Yeah, I'm looking at Antonio Brown.
Dude, buying great quarterbacks that you know have a play style and the talent to succeed for a very long time. It's like buying, like a quality something that just lasts for a long time. I don't know, maybe like a really good quality shotgun, right? You just know that thing will last for lifetimes. And there are plenty other products, right? Like maybe a really good quality car or something. Or a super good quality blender. They just last for a long time. And
are you comparing Justin Herbert to a blender?
A good quality ass blender.
He's a ninja blender.
It's a quality ass blender.
Yeah, those ninja blenders, man, they're really good.
Hold on, real quick. I just did
but
some.
But they'll just be on your team.
Frank's gonna slowly turn into Colin Cowherd with like these comparisons and analogies.
I just did some research. Julio Jones was a top wide receiver 1 for 7 years. He was a wide receiver 2 for 1 year, so 8 of his
8 years.
And that's like a unicorn. Like, that's hard to find. Frank's saying is 7 of the top 20 were still in the top 20 10 years later, which is just a crazy number to think of.
So, like, if you know you have a great quarterback, like, it's like, say, 4 years ago, if you took Aaron Rodgers in the first round of your start, even pick 1, you could say now, oh, well, shit, Aaron Rodgers isn't a consensus first-round pick, but, like, dude, if you kept him, that's fantasy points. Like, that's championship-level fantasy points that he has provided to your team in Superflex leagues. Dude, you nail down 2 of those motherfuckers, holy crap, you are set for life. Like, if you nail down Justin Herbert and, I don't know, let's just say Trevor Lawrence, right? You could quite possibly be set at the quarterback position, barring anything catastrophic, for the next 15 years. You don't... What, you just need to get Alex Smiths at best. And I'm talking late career Alex Smiths. Like, dude, that is... and then you can focus all of your first-round picks and all of your other assets on building that championship-level roster. You don't even have to draft players anymore. You can literally just trade your picks for good vets, and then for that 15 years, 14 years, as long as they're on the field, you could be in that championship playoff scenarios.
Yeah, and you're just creating a huge window to win as compared to, the types that have the just talk about like CMC and Kamara or I don't know, Julio and I'm trying to think of another top wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. Like, you're just creating that huge kind of window where it's much harder when you have the wide. I get that you have good running backs or good wide receivers, but your window to win gets so much smaller because running backs, like, it's rare to find one that's a running back 1 for 5 years or a wide receiver 1 for 6 years kind of thing. Like, you just have a way bigger window to try and just hit on a couple prospects. And then if you hit on those prospects, it's easy sailing.
Yeah, so I guess the takeaway in conjunction with the stat that I just said and what we've been saying for a while, which, unsurprisingly, the quarterbacks that are at the top of the charts every year is the same group of guys. You can go ahead. There's been a little bit of a changing of the guard recently with, the Mahomeses and the Kyler Murrays and stuff, but dude, you look the past 10 years, you're gonna see, okay, Aaron Rodgers is on there a whole lot, Tom Brady's on there a whole lot, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers. If you're able to nail down a couple of these guys, holy crap, whether or not they're worth the price is not even the question. They'll just provide you such a consistent floor for your fantasy team that's huge. So yeah, quarterbacks, unsurprisingly, they last a long time. Go and buy them. They're super important in Superflex, and they are the piece to build your team around. If you suck, go ahead and just get quarterbacks. Give up the farm for quarterbacks. They are worth it in the end. Whether or not they go up or down in value, you buy quarterbacks for the long haul. You know, I've made the mistake of, I'll trade away a second-round pick for a Teddy Bridgewater last year so that I can compete. Dude, fuck that. You might as well just give up a couple first-round picks and get yourself a good quality quarterback that will last for a long time.
Yeah, my thing is, maybe you don't even have to give up the picks, right? So, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. It's going to be a JT pat on the back session real quick. Last year, I really wanted Mahomes, and obviously Mahomes is, impossible to trade for. So, at the time, I gave up Kirk Cousins, Joe Mixon, Odell Beckham Jr., and my first-round pick in this year's draft, the 2021 draft, right? Which it would end up being a mid-first. You put that in keep, trade, cut now, it's saying that Patrick Mahomes is worth more than all those guys combined. But just last year, you got to remember, Kirk Cousins was a fringe quarterback 1. Joe Mixon was a definite running back 1. OBJ was a wide receiver, high wide receiver 2. Maybe even a wide receiver 1, very late. Probably more so wide receiver 2. I think he was
more of a wide receiver 1. He was, to some people, wide receiver 10.
And just think about how much changed in a year with the skill position players, right? So if you can move, a Dalvin Cook plus a 2021 mid-first plus trying to think of kind of an older a Cortland Sutton for let's see what that gets you on keep trade cut real quick. We're doing just a live experiment.
We're doing it live?
Yeah, we're doing a live segment right here. Dalvin Cook.
Why not just make it my team, JT? I know you wanted to.
No,
just make it my team.
You don't have a mid first because you won our league, although COVID year doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
And
Mickey Mouse,
and what wide receiver did I said Cortland Sutton. You don't have you literally just have Dalvin Cook out of what I just said. And according to that,
yeah, Jake, back off.
According to that, you win Patrick Mahomes easily. The Patrick Mahomes side is supposed to include an Adam Thielen or Curtis Samuel for that trade to be even.
Okay,
according to keep trade cut.
Okay, and who wouldn't throw in a player of that caliber right now?
Sure.
Into that package?
On the Patrick Mahomes side, personally, I'm not trading Patrick Mahomes at that price. But you.
Oh wait, it's saying you're giving up too much for Mahomes?
Yeah, it's saying that you're giving up to the Dalvin Cook.
Oh, I thought it said you had to give up.
No.
I thought you meant you had to add Thielen to the non-Mahomes side.
No, according to this, Dalvin Cook plus Cortland Sutton plus a mid first and 20, so pick 106, gets you a Patrick Mahomes. You could get any quarterback you want at that price. And just think what that's going to look like 2 years from now. You're still going to have Patrick Mahomes with 8 years left on the deal. Dalvin Cook's going to be 28. Cortland Sutton's going to be 27. Who knows what the mid-first is going to be. Maybe it hits. Maybe it doesn't. But you got Patrick Mahomes instead. Or you could kind of temper that deal down a little bit, and you could still get a stud quarterback. Maybe you take out Cortland Sutton, and that gets you Deshaun Watson. I don't know, probably doesn't. But Dalvin Cook plus a mid first could probably get you a very solid quarterback, and I feel like in a year or so, it's not going to look like a bad deal at all. So that's just something I'm willing to. Yeah, according to this, even Dalvin Cook plus a mid first gets you Patrick Mahomes. So, something I'd do.
I'll do that.
I won't.
I'll do that.
Jake's I'll get the mid first.
I'll do it right now. Shake on it.
That's also where I went on my keep the floor, whatever we call it, where I was talking about the trade calculators, right? If you can manipulate those for your advantage, go ahead. Do it. I'm in favor of that. Manipulate those trade calculators to get the players you want.
All right, but let's keep going. Keep going.
All right.
Other thing I noticed, real quick, let's start speed running these.
Okay.
First, third and fourth season are really important for long-term success, for the most part. There were, aside from the players that just go off early, if you have a Patrick Mahomes that throws for 50 touchdowns in his second year, generally speaking, he's not just going to all of a sudden shit out. And I'm not talking about, you can type in, oh, well, what about Carson Wentz? He had less than half of that touchdowns, right? He had or not less than half. He had 27 touchdowns that 1 year. So don't come out and say that.
But he only had 2 interceptions.
What's up?
I'm just being Lounis. How many interceptions did he have? It was 27 to what?
If you
no, he's talking about the What are you talking about? Is 2019 season or is it
I'm talking about 2017?
Oh,
Yeah,
2017. I think he had 33 that year.
Yeah, so even that's 17 low from Mahomes' 50 touchdown year, his second year. So that's different, completely different, right? But third and fourth season, very, very important because there were a whole lot of quarterbacks that played well early on. I'm not even going to include Carson Wentz, that fizzled out, that did pretty all right their first and second year, and sometimes even their third year, but fizzled out at fourth, fifth, and beyond seasons. So a couple examples of this: Marcus Mariota, he had a pretty decent first and second season, and people weren't out here just enraged that he was a bust after his second year. He kind of just fizzled out. Mitchell Trubisky, if you guys remember, his second season, they went 12-4 and went to the playoffs. He had a pretty good year. Andy Dalton is another guy. And some quarterbacks didn't have early success, but then kind of turned it up in year 3 and year 4, usually both. And then from then on, they were all right. Derek Carr, Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, and then even Ryan Tannehill had a really good year 3 and was able to carry it out. So just in terms of really good and all right, generally speaking, good year 3 and year 4 seasons was over 250 fantasy points. There were plenty of guys that had 230, 240 that definitely fizzled out. And generally speaking, you want to see a good year 3 and year 4. Because we've seen guys like Jared Goff put up 310 in year 3, then come back year 4, put up 238, and then kind of start fizzling out. And now he's traded, right? Not calling him a bust, but just his value's just completely dropped, right? The other thing, we'll speed run, keep going. Quarterbacks will have more guys break out later in their career than other positions. You're going to see guys like the Jimmy G's, the Drew Breeses, the Ryan Tannehills that kind of just break out after 5, 6 seasons sometimes. And then you'll have guys that'll break out that'll only last for 2, 3, 1 season. Tyrod Taylor, Case Keenum, Matt Schaub. Usually, if you have one of these guys, the sustained success is determined by draft capital. If you have a guy with some good draft capital, he has a much higher chance of sticking around if they break out late in their career than a guy with very little draft capital. And then the last thing is that touchdowns are king. Touchdowns are incredibly important and much more important than any of these other stats in terms of determining long-term success. If you can look at countless and countless and countless examples of guys that weren't able to put the ball in the end zone consistently that fizzled out. Joe Flacco, Tyrod Taylor, a whole bunch of them, Matt Schaub's, all of these guys. They don't last because they don't score. And on the contrary, as long as you don't throw a crazy amount of interceptions, Jameis Winston, you'll have more of a leash. And even Jameis Winston, who threw 30 interceptions, is still in the mix for a possible starting quarterback job this season. You want to know why? Because he went out and was putting the freaking ball in the end zone. Touchdowns are king.
He might have been down 30 by that point, but it's fine.
But the guys, and it's not necessarily that you need consistent touchdowns every single season. Guys like Aaron Rodgers will fluctuate from 35 touchdowns to 26 and then go up to 48. But you just need to have those seasons where you have incredibly high upside seasons with scoring. If you're a quarterback and you're kind of just sticking around, I get 27, and then 24, and then 26, and then 22, you have a way shorter leash than a guy that has those big, big upside seasons.
All right.
Yeah, and then just don't throw a shit ton of interceptions. The guys that throw a shit ton of interceptions generally don't stick around. Now, shit ton of interceptions is like over 16, 17 a year. Drew Brees consistently had over 10 interceptions a season, but he also threw a lot of touchdowns. So as long as you have that touchdown-interception ratio around 2, you'll generally be chilling. It's a little bit different if you're Jameis and you've gotten set the record for interceptions. But even guys like Brett Favre, he had a crazy long career. Dude is the most interceptions of all time, right?
Yeah,
you have a much larger leash if you score.
Yeah, even Stafford earlier in his career, I think he had a year where he had like 18 picks, but then he had like 28 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he's another example.
Shout out to Jameis Winston for having the 30-30 year of touchdowns and interceptions. That's incredible. It's something that's hard to find.
Probably the greatest year I've ever seen in my life, honestly, if we're going to be honest.
Let's run some scenarios. Okay, so we already kind of said Herbert's worth it. I believe proven quarterbacks are worth the price tag. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. What do you guys think? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean,
Rodgers' price is iffy. He's 37. He's actually getting up there now. But Wilson, yes.
Look, but what is the price tag when you're talking like Aaron Rodgers, right? So looking up,
people probably still want a first for him.
Looking him up on Keep Trade Cut,
Mid-first?
he is worth. It appears to be mid first, a little less. Like pick like 108 is probably what gets you Aaron Rodgers according to Keep Trade Cut.
I just can't do it. I can't do
a
it.
quarterback.
Yeah, the point.
If I'm a quarterback away, yeah, sure, but other than that, no.
I was gonna say in that trade, I would have to become a top 2 team in the league after that.
I can see the scenario actually where it does really work if you're around 110, 111, so you're that team that you held on to your pick, you missed the championship or you lost in the finals, right? And you can use that quarterback. And then the team that has Aaron Rodgers is a team that's looking to get younger. I do see that pick 110 for Aaron Rodgers trade kind of working out. I could see that definitely getting done. It's something I do think would work for both sides. That is a trade that I think both sides kind of win on. And would say it's fair.
Next thing. Is youth overvalued at quarterback? And I don't mean Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert passed every possible check. I mean the Baker Mayfields, right? The more semi-unproven players, just because they're young, they have this incredible price tag. I believe it is, because I still think, like in every league that I've ever been in, Russell Wilson is just as good, if not better, than a lot of these flashy young quarterbacks.
Yes, but how many flashy young quarterbacks are getting drafted ahead of Russell Wilson? Like Dak.
Probably just
Mahomes,
Herbert.
but I'll take Mahomes over him. Josh Allen, but I'll take Josh Allen. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Herbert, but I'll take Herbert. Lamar Jackson.
Would you rather have Lamar or Russell Wilson?
And isn't Burrow
Russ.
consensus ahead of Russ right now?
Yeah, that was the one guy that I'd say I probably would still rather have Russell Wilson over. Burrow is considered over Russell Wilson.
Wowzers. That's all I got to say to that. Wowzers.
I get your point when you put it like that. And Baker, there is a huge teardrop, but quarterback 9 is Russell Wilson. Quarterback 10 is Baker Mayfield. When you put it like that, it sounds crazy. But then you look at, you throw in all the players, and there is a big difference from Russell Wilson to Baker Mayfield. So it does make it a little better, I think. Yeah.
All right, so we talked about if Baker Mayfield's overvalued just now. What do you guys think?
Yeah, slightly, yes.
I think he might not be. I think when you put it like quarterback 10 and say that he's overvalued, I guess, but I just think he's a young person who had a very good, profile. He had a very good rookie season. He had one of the worst situations in the NFL and has been able to produce with it. He had a down year this year, but a lot of that can be attributed to, he played a game without any wide receivers. He played games in monsoon conditions. Like, he also has two of the best running back. Like, he's got the best running back duo in the league. So there's a lot of situation that goes against Baker Mayfield. But from what I've seen from Baker Mayfield, I do like, and I do think he's going to be one of those guys that consistently is a low-end quarterback one, but albeit a quarterback one. So I don't think he's overvalued. I think he's valued right where I think he should be. All right. I think that's a good place to cut it off, though. Next week we could talk about, retool versus rebuild. Will also be